God's peace be with all of you. I have a confession to make. I was asked to speak on this matter of what it means to say, I am a Malaysian. My confession is, I'm going to try to do that today, and it's my first time. The first time I'm going to delve on this matter of what it might mean when I or you say, I am a Malaysian. It's difficult. It's a difficult topic because I don't want to tell you what I am a Malaysian should mean to you. So what I'm going to try to do today, and in that sense, I'm using you all as guinea pigs. Alright, you'll forgive me. What I'm going to try to do today is to interact with you. I want to share some thoughts, provoke some reactions, and in that sense, this is no longer than a talk. It's a dialogue, if you will. I will be throwing questions and hoping that you will help me along. Now, how many of you have heard of Marcus Ng? 1, 2, 3. Okay. As an incentive, I brought 3 copies of this book, A Shooting Star. It's about a beautiful life. A beautiful life that was taken back last February, very young, 23, Marcus Ng. And really, if you read this book, the question of what it means to say I am a Malaysian is in here already, right? So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to give away these 3 copies to the 3 individuals who most participate and help me along in this effort. Okay? Okay. What it means when I say I'm a Malaysian. I think before we get into that, let's deal with a more basic question. What does it mean when I say I'm a Malaysian? Let's tackle the question first of what is Malaysia? I mean, if you're going to say I'm a Malaysian, let's understand what is Malaysia to begin with. Yeah, country. Okay, let's make a comparison between Malaysia, the modern nation state that we see today, with that of an early ancient tribe. Okay? Now, the objectives of the early ancient tribe, people coming together, with that of the nation state, is the same. It is to protect the inhabitants, protect the life of the inhabitants, and number 2, to preserve the way of life that those inhabitants within that territory have come to live as their chosen way of life. So I'm suggesting that the early ancient tribe and the modern nation state that Malaysia is shared those 2 same objectives. There are 2 similar features between the ancient tribe and Malaysia as the modern nation state. And it's so obvious, but I'll state it anyway. First is geographical territory. We are blessed because we still have the Penans in this country. And it offers us a glorious opportunity to look at what might have been the way of an ancient tribe, because they still live very much in the way that they've lived for a long, long time. So we're able to actually compare that community with the Malaysian community as a whole. So the first common feature between the ancient tribe is the geographical territory. Yeah? And the second, the most obvious, is the people. I mean, if you don't have the people, then you've just got barren land. So it's inevitable that in both societies you need the populace. The 2 common features: geographical territory and population. Now, the 4 distinguishing features, and these are very important, I'll ask you to please note them, and we may have to come back and look at them again. The 4 distinguishing features in the ancient tribe: the matter of governance, lawmaking, and adjudicating on disputes was invariably vested with big chief and the Council of Elders. All right, they would make the law. They would basically rule, and they would settle disputes. That's your ancient tribe. But in our modern setup today, that's shifted to the people. That's shifted to the people. So what you see, power previously vested in a king or a chief or a pengulu, together with a council of elders, today shifts to the rakyat. Right? And that's people power. People power is really the transference of power from the elite, ruler, council, to the rakyat. Alright? That's the first distinguishing feature. The second, very important, fundamental liberties. In the old tribes, there was that notion wasn't even conceived of, that there was this thing of fundamental liberties, fundamental rights that you couldn't take away. That if you took away, you forced a human to live in a subhuman condition. Alright? That's your ancient tribe. No fundamental liberties. Obviously, in our nation state today, go to part 2 of your federal constitution, article 5 to article 13. Those are guaranteed. At least that's what it says on paper. Guaranteed. Alright? Your second distinguishing feature. Security. Remember I was saying that the objectives of both the ancient tribe and the nation state was to protect life and to protect the population, and secondly to preserve the way of life. Now in order to do that, you need security. Security to defend the sovereignty from external threat. Now in the ancient tribe, big chief and the council of elders sat at home, whilst the rest of the population would take turns to guard the boundaries. Now, what that also meant was you couldn't look at any other possible vocation. You were either just planting, and then when it was your turn to guard, you were off to do guard work. So that really sort of determined your way of life. Security was manned by the population as a whole. Right? It's important to see this because what you then see is you see the interdependence between the various members of the community. Now in our modern nation state, that doesn't happen anymore. It's with the security forces, the police, the armed forces. Now, this is important because then, if you can see how it frees us, you and I are not now burdened with the task of our forefathers in having to guard the boundaries themselves. That means we were free to go to school, university, get an education. You begin to see it impacting on the way of life. It meant the way of life was going to change. What you must note is this. What the modern nation state introduced for us was representative government. We choose representatives who are supposed to sit there and govern for us. They were to serve us. Similarly, the armed forces and the police force are representative. It's really performing the duties that we owe to our fellow citizens. You know, when you look at part 2 of the Federal Constitution, right to life under Article 5 simply means you ought to have peace of mind at home. You should have the confidence that your house, your home is not going to be raided by marauders coming in from outside. Now, during the time of the tribe, we take turns to look out for each other's house, because your shift is 8 to 8, and then I take over at night. So it's a two-man shift. And we're looking after each other. In the modern nation state, we don't do it anymore. We have representatives in the police force, all right, and they are undertaking that task on our behalf. Right now, can you all see the shifts that I've I've been trying to point out to you. Right? It's important to understand. It's important to understand, particularly the 4 distinguishing features which I've said before. The shift of power from the big chief to the rakyat. Right? See it in the context of the new nation state of Malaysia. If before it was the rulers, now it is with the rakyat. The constitution placed that power with us, the rakyat. Fundamental liberties, they never had it. We've got it entrenched in part 2 of the constitution. Security, our forefathers had to do the policing themselves. We don't do it anymore. We leave it to professionals. Also, we assume. And way of life.